Late Night with Chefs is back at again with another weekly podcast. We've switched things up a little bit. Welcome our host, Vlad, that's me, and Doug. How are you
Hello,
doing
hello,
today, Doug?
everybody. Doing so well tonight. Happy to be here with you and talking with our fam and just kind of going through this new season. It's just such a joy to be here with you today, Vlad.
Yeah, man, we're keeping things, staying light on our toes and stinging like bees, man. COVID's kind of out of the way, and we're picking traction back up. It's nice to see all the restaurants flourish. It was amazing to see all the four new Michelin restaurants that got 1 stars in Chicago. That was
I
amazing
know
to
you guys
see.
had quite
Yeah, I
an
mean,
award ceremony.
and again, a lot of these chefs have already previously worked for Michelin establishments. So, good, cheers for them. Cheers for Chicago, and kind of cheers to Michelin bringing that back and rebuilding that hype that we had around restaurants. We were really hyped up back in the day with the restaurant scene and how everything was that you wanted to work at specific restaurants because they were receiving so much hype, and you kind of became that cool chef because you worked at those establishments. But
Oh yeah,
moving on to our subject of the evening, we're going to be talking about mother sauces.
5 mother sauces.
The 5 beautiful mother sauces that we all should have learned. But let's talk why it's important. And I'm going to be asking Doug a lot of questions about these 5 mother sauces. So, one, before we even talk about what are the 5 mother sauces, Doug, can you kind of give me a background story of how these 5 mother sauces came to be, if you know that? If not, I got a little cheat sheet that's going to keep me riding along.
I was gonna say it's been a while since culinary school, so I think this is gonna be a learning experience in and of itself. But as I know it, the 5 mother sauces are kind of like the quintessential basic sauces that were created when French cuisine first came about. I want to say Escoffier kind of
Ding, ding,
lit
ding,
it,
ding, ding.
but so Escoffier. So thank you, CLC Culinary School program, for getting me to where I am today. But yeah, he kind of created these as the basis, and we see derivatives of all sorts nowadays, with chefs kind of putting their own creative twist on these 5 basic beginnings of culinary sauce.
Awesome. So with the 5 mother sauces, kind of the background story about them is they've been around and they've kind of been played around and tempered with back in the day. But Escoffier was really the first one that kind of like put it down in notes and then like made a standardized recipe of them. And then that's what really enabled it to like flourish and become a thing, right? Why the 5 mother sauces? Well, because Escoffier picked 5 of his favorite mother sauces and kind of the roots behind how he thought those were the basis of the fundamentals of his cuisine in that area. So it's just really awesome to see how, this one person decided that, you know what, yes, I know how to use these, I know how to cook these recipes, but let's put them down on a piece of paper and then spread that knowledge. And that kind of really what started this whole lineage, this whole restaurant thing, this whole knowledge, and this whole passing down of the torch. So it's a really beautiful story, and it's kind of a badass story. Like, I look at Escoffier like, that criminal that Anthony
Yeah,
Bourdain
like
describes as.
yes, exactly. What a rebel, and just to be kind of like, this is the basis of all of my cooking. It is a very inspiring story. Definitely an amazing chef, and one we all have a lot to thank for.
Yeah, so obviously you learned them in culinary school, but for those folks that haven't, some really good resources would be obviously Google that shit first, but second, I mean, I think they're pretty much in every book. They're kind of just hidden behind the text, so you just kind of really got to look for it, and that's why we're going to be talking about them on the pod and kind of making it more interesting, so that you understand that when you see a cheese sauce, what that root mother sauce is. So moving on to that, Doug, I'm gonna do the chef challenge of the day, and the
Let's
chef
do
challenge
it.
of the day is gonna be: do you fucking know your 5 mother sauces?
All right. Let's see here, folks. So our first mother sauce I'm gonna name off is bechamel. We have our cream-based sauce there. The next one is tomato. A lot of derivatives off of that, specifically in Italian cuisine. And then veloute, espanol, And the last mother sauce.
Your favorite one, dude?
I want to say agrodolce if you're saying it's my favorite one, but
So let's repeat it. What were they, the ones you mentioned?
all right. So we got bechamel,
Okay.
espanol,
Okay.
tomato, veloute,
And then the favorite one. We talked
hollandaise.
about it on the
Hollandaise.
podcast.
Oh my goodness.
There we go. The 5 mother sauces. I've heard them, butchered left and right, but as long as we kind of always have this consensus of there is the 5 mother sauces, there's that classically French trained, and all these Michelin establishments, all these restaurants that we look up towards, and keep those high end standards going, and kind of keep our restaurant scene and our culinary world moving progressively and in a positive direction is with
Exactly.
those in the basis. That's all kind of hidden in the background. And kind of one of my favorite quotes that I like to mention, and it goes well with the mother sauces, is like, if you want to draw or be like Da Vinci, you got to learn the foundation first, and then you can start breaking the boundaries. And that's kind of what every chef that we've worked for has done, and they've kind of broken the boundaries, and they keep breaking the boundaries because they know how to manipulate those foundations, and they really understand that.
I love
But
that. It's such a great point, Vlad. Is the foundation is so key. You're 100% accurate, and
we
a lot of
I,
those great chefs they do like a rock solid foundation.
I feel like we, as young chefs, and kind of looking back into my early culinary school and early experiences in the industry, I feel like, being that young chef, you're like, oh, I want to be the sous chef. I want to be the sous chef. I want to be the sous chef. And then you kind of miss what's right in front of you. What's right in front of you is like, hey, we're gonna make you a sous chef. Like, don't worry about that. But like, hey, let's worry about these brunoise. Let's worry about the sauce. Let's worry about having a perfect demi. Let's
Yeah,
worry about
just
like
come and
having your
say,
mise en place ready,
yeah,
showing up on time. Do you have your Sharpie every day? It's like little things like that, and it. I still ding myself to this day. Working at Royster and at GT Prime and GT Fish, and working for the Boca family, that it forces you to be better.
yeah,
No, it's hard to wake up in the morning and force yourself to be better, but when you enter that establishment, you are not going to be able to go under their standards, and they're going to keep that, and everybody's watching you at all times. So it was a really like blissful thing, because like it was beaten into my brain, and now like when I'll hear a slam cooler door, I'll be like, man. But
exactly.
kind
Well,
of
no, yeah,
jumping.
it definitely it makes you appreciate, right, and having that like accountability and having people who share your same level of standard and want to succeed. But yeah, back to Oscafier and his genius.
Yeah, back to the world that, I mean, I couldn't even imagine working in those days, and the grind,
Yeah,
and the savage life that you had to go through to
I
to
can
make it in
imagine
those
being a
kitchens.
commis for Escoffier. Like
That'd be
that
crazy.
position was probably. I mean, I'm thinking, what that person's doing.
And imagine coming from
Plucking
America
fucking
going into
asparagus, faba beans, like
a French kitchen where they're like, they don't give a fuck about you, and they're just
yeah.
gonna be like talking in their French, and you're gonna be like,
That's who we need to get on
oh,
this
what do I
podcast.
do?
Somebody who was a commis for like Paul Bocuse or Escoffier or Alain Ducasse, like back in the day when you know
Yeah, there's
real.
not too many of them. Well, there are actually, I think the lineage, there's a lot of them left, right? Because I
Yeah,
know that John George worked for Paul Bocuse, and then there's a lot of people that work for Jean George. So like
right.
we can actually get that done. We should look into that. But
Yeah,
definitely, been we talked about it from day one. On the podcast, is bring a map and kind of jot down everybody we talked to on the
spiderweb.
podcast,
Yeah.
and we're definitely going to be getting more people we're going to be talking to. We're just so busy in our schedules. We're trying to like find like
No,
a comfortable
definitely.
zone where like, okay, we can start scheduling people, because chefs are busy, we're busy, our schedule changes. Hey, if somebody called off, guess what? We have to delay the pod,
Exactly.
and unfortunately, that's kind of what it's been with this year. And as much as me and Doug are thriving and we enjoy where we are in life, we want to do more for the podcast and kind of really make this into a platform. As we were talking about the 5 mother sauces, right? So We got the beautiful bechamel. And Doug, what's one of the favorite American things to make that's a derivative of the bechamel sauce?
I think you are hinting at the beloved Mornay, which is a derivative of the bechamel. Mornay, is bechamel, basically add cheese. And yeah, we see so many derivatives of it, right? Like nacho cheese sauce, cheddar cheese sauce, any kind of like Alfredo or Parmesan, anything that goes over top of French fries. Basically, we have the bechamel to thank for that.
Right. So, there's the Mornay sauce, which is basically the cheese bechamel. There's like egg sauce that they're saying, which is like diced eggs and bechamel.
Hmm.
Creme sauce, which is fresh cream and bechamel, which I mean, I guess that would be what you would put on top of what's it called? Like Monte Cristo or
Oh,
what's the
Monte Cristo, yeah. The sandwich, yeah.
and then there's a parsley one, which is a fresh cream, butter, and parsley. But these are all really old, and I think, kind of looking at all these derivatives, like let's look at veloute sauce, right? There's the supreme, which is the veloute sauce, and if you can kind of give our viewers who don't know what a veloute sauce is, but what's the definition or kind of what makes a veloute sauce? You remember that one?
So I was gonna say veloute is one of those ones where I honestly haven't done too much self-experimenting with. I remember making one a long time ago in culinary school, but I think I'm gonna have to phone a friend on that.
Yeah, so phoning a friend real quick. So what makes a veloute, and it could be either chicken, turkey, fish, or even beef, but beef is not really would be classified as a veloute, but it's just adding a roux to a stock. So whatever stock you have, and then you just add a roux to kind of thicken it. And nowadays we don't really use that because the good old gluten allergy hits you. You get hit with the good old gluten allergy.
A
So
little pre-high, a little
nowadays
XG.
what I've seen from my experience is instead of using like a roux, you would use either a cornstarch or a thickener like
Yeah,
Ultratex to kind of really get the things working and remove that gluten from there, kind of remove that flour, that heaviness. But a veloute is just stock and something to thicken it. So
Hmm.
really, we don't really use those sauces. I mean, I think when we started, when we had like chicken masala on the menu,
yeah,
there you go. There's
yeah,
your veloute sauce.
yeah. That and like I think about like some kind of gravies and some jus. Sometime we'll lose a little bit of roux to kind of give it that body to the sauce as well. But yeah, you don't see veloute too much anymore nowadays. There's definitely sort of like a gluten scare out there.
Yeah, definitely. And like, so like, yeah, I mean, chicken picante or picate or whatever. I don't even know
Got it.
how to say
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
chicken piccata is like, the ultimate chicken veloute dish. And I actually recently cooked some at the restaurant I was helping manage at the BMP opens. It's a good recipe. Like I
Yeah,
honestly, I was like,
hearty.
man,
Yeah,
this chicken's gonna be hammered. Like it's literally simmering in sauce, but that flour, that sear, cooking that, I mean, it honestly keeps it tender. And I'm like super, I was like spectacle. And then I tried
yeah,
it. And it was like one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe if I did this in front of, Greg Atkins or Giuseppe or Thomas Keller, he'd look at me like, hey, like, I perfected this in the 80s. Like, I'm good. Like,
yeah.
we're never making this again. But at
Exactly.
the end of the day, country clubs are still selling it and good old
Yeah,
restaurants are still selling it.
and I think
So,
it's those like staples that people are accustomed to. Those hearty flavors that are like that perfect sort of balance and in between for us. People gravitate towards that consistency.
yeah, and I think a lot of it is making a comeback. I see a lot of chefs opening up diners now and really
Yeah,
like making, biscuits the right way, making ham in house, making certain things that you'd be like, wow, I'd never expect this. And, diners have been doing it. And they kind of switched to all this IQF ready to go food and,
yeah,
just making it, streamlining it pretty much.
yeah.
Now chefs are kind of putting in their touches on it, which is really nice to see. And shout out to Greg Braxton, who just opened up Patty Ann's. He also owns Olmsted, which is really cool. And been watching all these amazing chefs really pick it up now. In
Yeah.
the last few months, honestly, I've just been crazy. Like my Instagram's just been blowing up with new like so much content. It's incredible. And like all the reviews and the news and, Eater's back and, you know, everybody's back. It feels like everybody's awake now.
I know it
So,
feels like our industry is like old, car engine that's like slowly starting to crank over and getting some speed to it. It's really
well,
exciting to
and
be
you're
in
right
the
in the pulse of that. You're
We
on
are,
speed
yeah.
five right
Right
there.
in Manhattan. It's definitely nuts. I see it around me all the time. There's a lot of like limited menus that people were doing that are going away because people are getting the staff back. Specifically where I work, Friday night service, I think we had like 5 commis and like 6 people on the line. Like we were fully staffed for the first time in a very long time. And being here and just kind of being able to be part of this revitalization is definitely a privilege in and of itself. And in a city where it's taken so serious. So I think you're right, Vlad. I think our industry is kicking back over, and hopefully we've learned our lesson and we can move forward and grow from this.
Yes, and I think with nowadays with inflation and everything, it's actually like more affordable to go out to eat. If
Yeah.
you look at the way that things are, like you're gonna buy a $12 chicken breast, you might as well pay 25 and get a set and a beautifully cooked chicken breast. So like we really want to promote people going out to eat, going out to local spots, and then really celebrating those anniversaries at those fancy schmancy places because they're there for that reason, and you're gonna be expecting nothing but like amazing treatment, and you're really gonna
But
get that.
yeah, and I think a lot of people appreciate the experience more now. Before going out to eat was always there, right? You could always go out to a restaurant. There was no, oh, I can only dine in, or oh, only take out. Only this. That was very quickly ripped from a lot of people's lives, and I think now that going out to eat is open again and indoor dining is open again, people are really like more appreciative of that experience than maybe we were. I think we kind of took it for granted, and at least I see that where I'm at is a lot of people, they're there for the experience of going out to eat, not necessarily just to eat some good food and not have to worry about making the dishes after. It's very much like they're there to enjoy themselves and enjoy the experience of going out to eat and sharing a
And
meal.
doing the dishes, man, that's a big one, and I want to talk about that. And I
Doing the
want
dishes
to,
after you make
and we're
dinner.
we're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna break to our ad right now, and this ad is just gonna be spontaneous, and it's a free ad. We're not getting paid for this, but we're throwing an ad out there because this is what we do. This is a late night with Chef show,
We're
and
now a chef.
basically this is my ad in washing dishes, man. Dawn soap. I can't tell you any better soap on the market than Dawn soap, man. This stuff has cleaned the Gulf Coast of Mexico of oil and whatever. And right here, we use it in the best kitchen. So, like, I know that I don't even have to ask you, but do you use Dawn soap in your kitchens, bro?
Well, I use Dawn soap. To be
You guys
totally
have to
honest,
be using Dawn soap.
I just used Dawn soap like 10 minutes ago to scrub down my entire kitchen here at the house. So I'm a huge supporter of Dawn soap.
Especially to the chefs that are listening to this, the ones that are like, making those TikTok videos or whatever at home and really, show stopping everything. And all those pans have oil and your stove is covered in oil and grease and little things like that, man.
Yeah, it's
Take a
just
little
different.
Dawn soap on that, man. It just cleans it right up. And it's streakless. That's what I like about it.
Yep.
Because a lot of times, we're forced to, go down the line and scrub and then, wipe and then polish and then, throw the stainless steel just to
Oh
make
yeah,
sure that everything is spotless. But man,
polish and buff.
Dawn soap kind of removes that step, man. I don't want to grind on anybody's shoes, but Dawn soap, man, it's life changing.
I love it. I love it.
And we're back. We're back at it
Hello,
again.
hello, everybody.
Another amazing pod. We were just talking about the 5 beautiful wow, that was a tongue twister. 5 beautiful mother sauces, and we got through bechamel and veloute, which has been an interesting talk. So if you're just tuning in, make sure to revert back, start it from the top, and get it
Start it
going.
from the start, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Started from the bottom. Now we're here, guys. So talking about the five mother sauces and kind of the derivatives that we see in our kitchens today. Moving on to the next one, and I'm just gonna give it to Doug. So the Espanol.
Yeah,
Um,
lay it on me.
yeah, Espanol is basically just taking the roux a little bit darker than you would. So then, in essence, because you're taking it to like its nuttier stages, you're getting different aromas, but then you're also getting a darker color. So you'd be adding, veal stock or tomato paste or tomato puree or beef jus or beef
Yeah,
stock into it because it's already dark. Unless in your restaurant you practice, going like, I've seen chicken stock taken like really dark and toasty and you get like a lot of more of that umami taste into it versus the light version. So Espanol would be there. And the one thing that, kind of we always remember what Espanol sauce is while that guy revs outside the New York City apartment Doug is staying at.
New
Well,
York
that's
City, guys.
loud. That's
City that
New
never
York City,
sleeps.
man.
City never
Exactly.
sleeps. Especially
So
the guy
basically,
outside the Dodge Charger.
yeah, he's gone. He's living life, man.
He knows what he's up. He knows what he
Hey, and
wants.
it's warm outside now. Everybody, the
That's right. It's
shenanigans are
50
happening.
degrees. It's 50 degrees. It's people are out. People are living their best life.
People are blooming like ramps right now. So and I looked at them. They're still babies. I didn't want to pick any, but we do have
we
some
have some
ramps.
we have some at the restaurant. It's on the menu.
Where did you guys get them?
Here.
You guys got them from Oregon, didn't you?
From upstate. Yep.
Or from upstate New York?
I think either.
You're not sure.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But most of the stuff that we get comes from upstate. But no, they're at the restaurant. We're grilling them whole and putting them on the menu.
Those questions will piss off any sous chef when the line cook comes up and goes, "Hey, where do we get these wraps in from?" And he's like, "Dude, I don't fucking know. Like,
yeah,
leave me alone. I got the prep list and everything. Like, if you really want to check, just check the order list." But I'm really one of those freaks because I just want to know like what's the first harvest and what's the first, when we get them in and where we get them from. But
I think
moving on
to, I definitely think it's important to know.
It is. I mean, especially when you're prepping them and you got to wash them, and sometimes they come in really dirty.
What you're doing. Yeah.
The dirty ones, and you're like, oh my god, we have to break out a 3-compartment sink with giant Lexons and wash all these and get them all clean before we even start prepping them. So, like that throws me. Like I always want to save the time, and sometimes you can't, sometimes you can. But moving back to the 5 mother sauces, we're on the third one, Espanol. So it's basically just a fortified beef stock, fortified beef stock where once it's fortified, you strain it, you add the roux to thicken it, and then basically you throw in concassé, tomatoes, but also some derivatives that we missed. And I think I missed this one, or either I skipped a day in culinary school, but it says demi-glace is a derivative of
I can see that.
Espanol,
I don't necessarily.
Back in the day, they used to thicken it with roux versus reducing it to where we reduce it nowadays.
Yeah, till nappe.
Exactly. So, but Madeira wine and Espanol is a big one. So Madeira sauce is a huge one, and then all the way thrown back to like not even. I'm talking about tech campus. I mean, I'm going way back. I'm talking about checkered pants and. Chef Works white hats.
With houndstooth.
But we're talking about one of Chef Andrew's, one of our culinary instructors, Chef Andrew Meyer's favorite sauce, and I'll never forget it, the Diablo sauce. So that one is demi-glace, reduced white wine vinegar, and cayenne pepper. And I remember that one because cayenne pepper wasn't something you really eat in Ukrainian or Eastern European food or Middle Eastern food. We do have like harissa pepper or spicy pepper, but cayenne is like just straight heat. So that Diablo sauce kind of, throws me back, and it's awesome to see that derivative sauce. But I think we don't really use Espanol as much as other than demi-glace, and then demi, you just fortify it with whatever you want. So whether you want to go miso demi or bourbon demi or maple glazed demi, I've seen it. You add anything to demi-glace, it's going to be delicious.
Oh, 100%. All that rich, unctuous, fattiness and Just delicious. But moving on, I think our next mother sauce is probably a little bit more on the popular list.
Definitely. Which one do you want to reveal to us? So we've talked about the bechamel. That's our good old cheese sauce that we make. We talked about a veloute, which is our classic picante sauce, chicken picante sauce, if I'm pronouncing that right. And then the demi, the good old. We use that pretty much every day nowadays. But the
Yep.
espanol, which is a derivative of, or demi-glace is a derivative of espanol, and that's kind of where we sit in today's kitchens. But kind of going to our Italian phase here, we'll go
There we
with
go.
tomato sauce, and that one's a really interesting one because the tomato sauce is not something you'd think of as a sauce, but is pretty much just pureed tomatoes, and what you add to it is going to be a sauce anyways because it's already thick.
Yeah, and like you said, tomato sauce is one of those ones that have been, ripped apart into ketchup, marinara, bolognese. It's all over the place, and I think definitely one of, if not the most popular of the five mother sauces used today.
Yeah, and it's everywhere from mussels and tomato sauce from the classics to today, whether it's getting like you said, whether it's a fluid gel, which would be a derivative of tomato sauce, whether you're making it
Marmalade,
with that,
yeah,
marmalades.
puttanesca.
Exactly. There's so many things that are made with tomatoes nowadays, which is just crazy. But just seeing that and then just that being really just showcasing really the five mother sauces, it's the time where people started to a little bit travel on boats and stuff like that and kind of really see what other sides of the world are, what bringing that community closer, right? Exactly what we're doing here on Late Night with Chefs, kind of bringing all these chefs, all these food and beverage people, all these like-minded people that want to grow and flourish and thrive in their industry and really do something and really set the legacy and start moving forward and utilizing this as a platform. The five mother sauces are essentially where these chefs started traveling and kind of seeing what's out there. And, especially with the Espanol, it got its name because it was, from where it originated, which was Spain. So seeing the tomato sauce, I definitely think it originated, in Italy, or the Italian people migrated enough to where it was mixed into the French cuisine and Escoffier got his hands on it. But tomato sauce, you honestly see, from bolognese and things like that, very Italian things that kind of the derivatives come from that you really recognize in today's kitchen.
Most definitely. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's something that a lot of people don't think about is the different derivatives and how it's, you know, evolved over the many years and chefs' hands that it's touched.
Right, and we're talking about like this is 1800s where really this started kind of like taking note and being like recognized as a thing, and then 1900s is when we get our Nouvelle cuisine and things like that, and really start pushing the boundaries, and we kept evolving from there, but we rarely see or rarely kind of put into the history of food is so many wars stopped that, kind of put that thing on pause, just kind of how we saw it in COVID, where all these restaurants had to close down due to the the outside effects of what's happening in the world. They had to put a pause on it, and your mind goes from being creative to just how do we sustain. So it's nice to see kind of like those little glimpses in history and kind of recognize them too. And then again, going back to how we were talking about Da Vinci, when we have a strong foundation and we know what to do with different times and how to carry over through times, and then how to flourish and how to bloom in times, it's really important. I think some chefs have that honed in, and you really saw that from chefs moving to carryouts and to goes, now to moving back to tasting menus, being that flexibility and adaptness in the industry is a must, and it's a key to success. So on that note, key to success, one of our favorite sauces, I know it's Doug's favorite sauce to play
My
around,
absolute favorite sauce to mess around
and
with.
mine to eat because of the amount of butter in it. But we're talking about the beautiful hollandaise sauce.
Hmm.
And hollandaise sauce as much as we want to think it originated from Hollandale, there's an actual place of origin of it. I think it's just been used in, just one of those happy accidents that happened that people just ever since been putting on their eggs and whatnot. Especially potatoes nowadays.
Every Benedict.
Yeah. But talk to us about your favorite derivative of hollandaise sauce, Doug.
Hollandaise is something that I have a love-hate relationship with. I used to have my cooks make it every single day from scratch at the restaurant, in the Roboku. I'm not an animal. It wasn't in a whisking bowl with a whisk. I do have a heart. But it was made every day in the Roboku, clarified butter. And I remember one time I made this like smoky blood, it was a sauce maltese is what I was making, but I added some smoke elements to it, specifically through like smoked Malden. And it was just this like umptious, like smoky, blood orangey, enough Tabasco in there so I didn't have to add any other acid. It was delicious. So sauce maltese is definitely one of my favorite derivatives of the beloved hollandaise.
I love that. And when you were like, oh, sauce maltese, I was like, man, what's that? And he's like, dude, it's a derivative of hollandaise. And this is like 2 years ago. It's like, I'll always remember that. And that's why I love, having chefs and friends in the industry, because we can always relate to those kind of little, those, devils in the details. And we really all about that. And, that precision and that drive. And that's why, I love Doug, and that's why we're co-hosting this beautiful podcast.
That's why we're here. That's why Late Night with Chefs exist.
Exactly, because we just feed off each other's energy and knowledge, and that's really what all of us really want to be a part of, is whether we're in the kitchen and part of that or outside the kitchen and a part of that. But just having that family, that relatability, and that knowledge, and being able to share that awareness and just talk about it. And you never know when you get like a super creative epiphany where you write it in your notes and then use it maybe 3 years later down the line in your cookbook and make something amazing. But that's what we're really all about. And kind of talking about these 5 mother sauces, they've been around for a century, maybe a couple centuries. And that's exactly where we're going to be at with Late Night with Chefs. We're going to be here around for a long, long while. I'm rocking our acid teas that we did
there
for
it
a
is.
way.
Handmade.
But kind of just informing all our people, all our viewers, all our fans, everybody that's been liking in the comments, watching all our content, and really supporting us. We're really going to be scaling this thing up into a platform, really enabling, other chefs and stuff like that to arise and support them, through liking, commenting, whether it's advice, whether it's just communication, whether it's just a friendly note. Whatever we can do, we really want to grow this into a community and be able to nourish, the up and coming chefs, and then the chefs that had, some hardships and stuff like that, because life does happen to us, and we do take a lot of things for granted. So being lucky, being in the place that we are, me and Doug are super happy to kind of bring this version 2.0. Last week, Doug, can you remind me what we talked about last week?
Last week we talked about good old family meal.
Oh, family meal. That's right. Family meal. Exactly.
Good old family meal.
That was a great topic. And, family meal is something, that's dear and close to our hearts. This week we talked about the 5 mother sauces. Next week, you're going to have to tune in and see what we talk about. But it's going to be amazing. Doug's going to be interviewing me, asking me questions. And I know a lot of you guys have asked,
Put you in the hot seat.
Are we going to be talking to more people and stuff like that? And that's all in the pipeline. We're just kind of getting these out, doing it week by week, and then we're going to start, implementing all our people that we have coming on the pod as guests. And we want to do something more different where we get more than one person per hour and really make it, fun and entertaining, because that's what we're really all about. Millennials right now, we really focus on entertainment. Everybody's about that clickbait, and we're really just trying to provide good, positive content that has some knowledge behind it, has some roots, has some history, and, is propelling a positive thought. And that's what we're really all about. And I wanted to thank everybody for tuning in, viewing. If you're rewatching this, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple, literally everywhere. We do have merch out right now, but we're working on some new collections, and we're going to be really focusing on, really, really cool merch that we can rock on the line and feel comfortable wearing, and not have anybody of our coworkers call us out for little tedious things, and really push the high standards of this industry. We understand, yes, we have people tuning in that are, listening in from McDonald's, from, a mom and pop shop, from that. But we're in hopes that if you're listening in from that perspective, that you want to come into the Michelin world, you want to come into, the 50 best world, the Bocuse d'Or, and really make a statement in the industry. And we don't want to be anything mediocre. Like, that's not what we're about. We're going to just say that out front to you guys. We love you, but we want to really push you. That voice in your head that's like, hey, you got this. We can push harder. Like, nothing can stop you. And don't let anything stop you in the way. And with that being said, like, we need to hear that as well every day. Like, that's something that we still need to work on, and we work on every day, and want others to work on that. And then that way we build a pretty strong, awesome community, and grow from there and do some awesome things. So on that note, I don't know if Doug has really anything else to add other than
No, I mean, sentiments are shared, and like Vlad just said, everything. I share his commitment to this, and we just want to thank you guys, and thank you to the Dodge Charger that's still revving it outside.
Yo, honestly, and we got some awesome content. Like I said, we're growing this into a show. This is a podcast right now, but never look at it what a product is. Never read a book by its cover. Stay tuned with us. Make sure to hit that notification button so you guys stay up to date whenever we release things, so you don't have to loop back, and you can be up to date with all our content. And like I said, we're going full force. 2022, man. I feel the energy. The industry is buzzing.
There it is.
Everybody's buzzing. So you better have your knife sharp and your notepad ready, because we're going.
Don't forget your Sharpie. You'll look like an idiot.
Exactly, dude. Sometimes I forget it nowadays, and
it's the worst feeling. The worst feeling is having to ask a chef for his Sharpie. The worst feeling.
It is. It really is. And sometimes you go for the pen knowing it's not going to work, and then you learn.
It doesn't look the same on the tape. It doesn't look the same.
And I think that's the beauty about experience. You've done it. You've tried to hack it so many times where you're like, you know what? I know the pen's not going to work. Hey, chef, can I use your Sharpie? I'm going to bring it back tomorrow. I'll be better.
You just grow up and you just accept that, this is just going to look stupid. Let me just ask for the Sharpie.
Exactly. So on that note, guys.
Thank you, guys. I hope you learned something about the 5 mother sauces. I know that I definitely did. Thank you, Vlad, for quizzing me and giving me that little throwback down culinary school lane. Shout out to CLC for helping me get through that. Chef Will and Chef
we
Rob,
just saved, we just saved people like $2,500 on a semester.
There you go.
Culinary one. Call it done.
Thank you guys so much. Stay safe and continue to check in with us so we can continue to provide you guys with some awesome content. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Make sure to hit that notification button and check with us next week. We will be live.